Bartel has been one of the persons who's watched all the shows. I talk to him on a regular basis in the EverQuest Next IRC channel.
What we saw with, Kunark for EQ2, you did those 400 quests, you did all the content, and at the end of it, the world wasn't changed.
Yeah, I'm Phantom X. I do social media and write articles for EQ Nexus.
For the Fall of Bastion, there was a very definite, okay, this is where your story is going to fit into the world.
Listen, fluffy looking bear. Thank you. Listen, I went and I killed a dragon, and then 2 drops of whiskey hit my face, and I willed this manly beard into cow was raising. Yes.
Hello and welcome to the 29th episode of the EverCast show. We titled this one Frenemies because we will be killing with friends. With me is the rest of the hosts. Say hi, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome
Hello.
to the EverCast show.
Hi. I think that Flatus is going to take it away for the introduction today.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. This is Frenemies, episode 29 of the EverCast show. PvP has landed on Wednesday.
Oh,
and
yeah.
boy, what a hell of an experience that has been. Today we have special guest Tenma with us, Tenma _EQNL on the Twitters, and great builder. And we have our other hosts, our Tamlin, Chewy, and Kyless with us as well today. But we'll let Tenma start. We'll let the guest start today. So Tenma, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and who you are and why you're here.
Well, I am a community leader or a community goat right at this point in time. I am the leader of Colossus, and which is currently the biggest community inside of Landmark. I also do streaming and all that kind of good stuff. So, but yeah.
Very cool.
Talk a little more. You're featured a lot from devs on the game for being an awesome builder. So you obviously have some talent there. Can you talk a little bit about that? Some builds that you might have worked on in the past?
And not to mention how much Dave Georgeson has just talked and talked and talked about it.
Right.
All right. Well, let's see. What have I been a part of? I was one of the people that worked on the 36 mega claim at the end of Alpha. We built 36 claims worth, in 4 days. Let's see. Coming out of that, we did. Let's see. What else have I done? Ogre City version 1, 2, 3, and 4. Man,
you're getting some hashtag help in the chat. Colossus, I believe, is one of them.
Thunderdome.
Yes, Colossus is definitely one of them. Let's see. I helped Lady Kathleen on the rebuild of her museum when it got hit by a griefer. I run all over everywhere all the time, helping out people. They message me. I run out there and help them as much as I can. I'm best known for my tutorials, which currently we have 83 tutorials on my YouTube channel.
That's fantastic.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. On top of that, of course, I'm pretty close with the developers and stuff like that because, I want the game to run, I want it to work, and all that kind of good stuff. Of course, when we got our community together and we started actually putting things together, it was suggested, hey, let's do a community build. And I was like, heck yeah, let's do it. And the first community build we did was the recreation of Bedrock from the Flintstones. And
I never saw that. That's really awesome.
It's still out. Yeah, it's still out there. And then the very next weekend, we got together, and now these builds are not something that I dictate. Okay, this is what we're going to be building. I put it out there. We do straw polls to find out exactly what we do or what we were going to build, and the community as a whole comes together to build them. And so they get all the credit for it. I just initiate it. That's all I do. And on top of that, then we have the next weekend, we built a Western Village, which is pretty awesome. And then, of course, I went to SOE Live when I came back from SOE Live, and I wanted to do another community build. And, of course, PvP was coming out, and that's when everybody came together to build the Thunderdome. And I had nothing to do. Yeah, I had nothing to do with selecting the subject matter on that. I always put it out to the community to make that decision, and no matter what it is the community comes together to build, it always comes out.
That's
fantastic.
awesome.
We're really glad to have you on the show. We always like to feature people from the community, and you are a huge community member.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. There's a lot. Like I saw Thunderdome, and I'm pretty sure any place I've looked that's like a big build, I'm pretty sure you somehow, you and your whole guild and your community is somehow touched it or helped somebody out, and that's always good.
Your tutorials are a bomb.
Oh yeah. I got a question though. I don't think it's something we always get a chance to ask, but I think we would ask this real quick. How do you feel as a community leader about a game that's a game like Landmark, which is different in the MMO community because it's this game that's very much in the building aspect of Minecraft? How do you feel as a community leader how it's changing the way we see MMOs?
Well, it's a lot tighter knit than what any other game I've ever been a part of. I mean, no matter, what we do, it's amazing how very well and structured it has been so far. I mean, it's very rare we ever run into issues where we have, little kiddies running around trying to delete people's claims and stuff like that. And it's a little bit more mature group. And in that respect, I think it being in an alpha closed beta situation, you do have the more mature players playing, and everybody really wants the game to survive. We want to see it grow. We want to see it improve. And that is probably the biggest thing about it. I mean, it always kind of goes back to the community coming together to help try to make something even better than theirs.
Do you think the landscape, and not so much the landscape in the building form, but the landscape of the community will change when we go open to everybody and everybody can come in?
Well, it's all back to, if you bring those people into the community and show them exactly what the community is about, it's not going to be too much of an issue.
Right on. I agree with you. I think if people see what we've strived for, I think since alpha as players of this game, and what SOE is trying to do, and their values, and we know how Brass feels as a community leader about values with their community. I think I completely agree with you. I mean, we're gonna have those people that are gonna troll and grief and stuff like that, but I think we'll get that taken care of. But we'll talk more. We have after show too, so we can always ask more questions like that. But we have a lot of reviews going on today, and we have some news. And I wanted to let Tenma speak a little bit, but I'll throw it over to Tanlin. I think you want to kick off the news today.
Yeah, because this is the first time we've had the news segment to run.
You were talking to the stream. Just so you guys know, we're trying out some new audio setups today. Tanlin has Kailes and him mic differently, so if you hear typing, it's because Kailes is getting used to not having an unmutable mic. And if Tanlin is talking to you guys, and for some reason we're all quiet, it's because he pulled a Tanlin to us. He will no longer pull a Tanlin to you, but he will Tanlin us all the time.
Tanlin me.
but see, I could fix that easier. It would just annoy the heck out of you because you guys would basically hear the echo. But we'll work on that in the later. But so yeah, this is the first time in a while that we've actually had some EverCast news. Obviously, like the big thing between this week and last week is that we are committed now to doing a show every week. We'll be on every Sunday. But the new news, as we love saying, the new news is that we're adjusting our hours. We felt that going on at 7 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern was a little bit too late in the day. When we finished up, it was midnight on the East Coast. We had no Europe audience because we were going on at like 3 o'clock in the morning over there. So we're moving to 5 p.m. Pacific, which is 8 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. If you have any feedback about the change in the time, we want to hear it. Even if that means that it's good, we want to hear it. If it's bad, we want to hear it. Again, we're trying to make this best for the community. We want to get as many people involved as we can. So that's kind of the thing that's been driving this change. The other thing that we have to announce is that if you notice, we started back doing our pre-show again, and we were running like EverQuest 2 music, EverQuest 1 music, and we've got some, little parody commercials that we recorded that were a whole lot of fun that we recorded for our anniversary episode. But we're putting it out there to everybody else that if you have a 30-second, 45-second audio clip, audio only, basically promoting your guild that you're recruiting for, an event that you're trying to put on, and you would like us to run it during the pre-show, get a hold of us at evercast.show@gmail.com and let's talk about it, and we'll get it added to the pre-show and we'll run it for you guys during, so for our audience. I think that was it for the EverCast news. Am I leaving anything out?
No. That's exactly it. I just want to tack on for the commercials. Keep them a maximum of 30 seconds in length. And if you have problems maybe normalizing audio or are new to the whole thing, you can basically record the basic message, and then we can take care of all the details on our side before we air it. I'm going to post the email in chat too, so people can go ahead and start emailing with that. So continue, Seth.
That's what I was going to add. Absolutely. If you have an idea for a commercial but you feel uncomfortable doing it yourself, email us anyway. Maybe we'll work with someone who will read it for you. Maybe one of us will volunteer to read it for you.
I would totally do it.
I have voice processing, software on my computer, so maybe I can read it in some funny voice for you or a more serious voice, whatever. We're happy to help.
I'll read it. I'll read it like Morgan Freeman for you if you want me to.
Oh my god, can you do that?
A little bit, yeah. Be like a flower, like a flower.
I chow.
Just be like, yeah, this come join Colossus. It is a wonderful guild, and they have see, just like that. Just
I would also like to apologize to all of you who are having to listen.
We have a great show planned tonight. A lot of big topics. PvP has, of course, come to Landmark. So we're going to be discussing some of what we like about PvP, some tips for PvPers when they first come into Landmark. Then later in the show, we have Tenma here, who's an excellent builder. We're actually going to be diving into a couple arena builds that we liked, and we're going to be looking at those, seeing how they could improve, maybe some of their iterative processes, and what we liked about the builds themselves. And then later, you guys have to stay tuned. Sorry to cut you off, Gladys, but we are going to be giving away 2 prizes tonight, a Colonist Flight Suit and a Gem Seeker's Brooch, and that will only be available through PvP in Landmark, which will be streamed live during the after hours. Getting closer to that point, we'll tell you where to go in Landmark to take part in the action.
Real quick, Cody Minat, real quick in chat, said, need more EverQuest talk. It's coming. I believe the reason why we touched on Landmark first, because Landmark is a game that is out right now.
Right.
But we know there's so much news from SOE Live about EverQuest Next, and we are the premier EverQuest Next, podcast.
And Landmark.
And
Landmark.
No, as a matter of fact,
we are going to talk about it. Do not worry. This is just combat was so close to after SOE Live. We focused
right,
on
and
that.
I will tease it. I'll tease it out right now. Like, we know exactly what our next show is going to be about. Our next show is going to be about how we project combat going into EverQuest Next, not Landmark, but from what we've seen about Next or Landmark into EverQuest Next, and we suspect that they're going to have a new race for.
Tenma has something to say.
Go ahead, jump on in.
It's EverQuest Landmark.
It's true.
And also, I mean, honestly, this is the closest we've ever been to having Landmark be something of talk for EverQuest Next, in my opinion. Building has always kind of been there, but building isn't necessarily something you're going to be doing in EQN. Combat is. So this kind of early iteration of PvP and that action-style combat is something that we can instantly talk about and be completely honest and say that it is coming for EQN, and this is something that is relative. So don't think it's not.
I would
On
also.
that note, oh, go ahead.
All right, it's cool. I would just like to say that I now have a shiny new microphone that I can't turn off. That if I want it turned off, I have to whisper him to tell him to turn it off and then to turn it back on again. So if you hear me typing or the earlier weird vibration noises, my cell phone was on my desk and on vibrate. I apologize. Very sorry. I will work on this. It's a mechanical keyboard. I can't make it not be loud.
If I didn't open mic, it would be terrible because I constantly bang things. No.
Yeah, we've heard.
Oh, whatever.
All right.
So first topic of the night, Taylor. Why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
It's so simple.
What else do you
It's
hear?
nothing but a toggle switch and a soldering iron can.
You know what? That's a good. I have a soldering iron at work. I could easily fix this. However, tips for PvP was what we were going to kick it off for. It's just like one or two quick things that we've picked up in the first week of combat in Landmark that could help out a new player or a player who's jumping into Landmark PvP for the first time. I'll go ahead. I'll go first. The first one is that make all three weapons. You've probably heard this before. Make all three weapons. Put them on a new action bar hotkey. Put them in, 1, 2, 3, and that way you can switch between them on the fly as you go. Second tip is that if you're using the bow and you hover over someone, you have like a little target in the middle of your screen. When that turns green, that means you'll hit the target. It's basically, and then right next to the target, there's a rangefinder, and it will tell you what the range of the distance is between that person. And that's how we use the rangefinder and that to figure out that the warrior charge is 30 voxels or 30 units. It will go 30 units when you charge someone with a soldier's sword. And the bow itself has a range of 50. So that's it. Who's next?
I'll go. I will say this, that keeping those weapons on your hotbar is fantastic. And they're right now, I know that they will probably, I don't know if they'll change in the future, they most likely will. But right now you can hot swap between the weapons, and that's kind of a good thing and a bad. Well, it's a good thing. I'll go with the tip spot. I'll talk about bad later. The good thing is that, let's say if you have the staff equipped, you throw out the orb. So if you're in the air, and I know a lot of people don't want you to use like Belt of Zephyr or the anklet, but if you have that sort of, even if you're just grappling and somebody has a roof and you grapple down, you can fall down and throw the bubble down. You have like this, it's very much, it's not a playing field of this, it's a playing field of it's all over. So you can aim down, and that's really good.
There's a lot of verticality in the game.
You can charge up.
I think that's really good because that gives you that vertical advantage helps a lot because you can get a lot of good kills that way. Other than that, another thing is the sword ability to charge is great to get through that bubble. If you didn't know, like that, like you will not take damage. You will not take that bubble damage. You will fly through that bubble, and you get the person on that side. So there's a little pro tip there. And the bow is great if you have that as Belt of Zephyr. You pretty much can snipe people when you're flying around. So if you have issues with the bow, that would probably be my suggestion. Unless you have like a cool map that kind of allows for a better.
Let's turn it over to Tenma.
Gladys, you need some coffee tonight, man. Tenma, go ahead.
All right. Equip right now, they have only got it set up to where pretty much everything that you put down there is going to be bonuses to your stats. Use that up while you can because they're fixing to totally get rid of that, and you'll only have one slot that affects in PvP, and you'll have to decide which one's the best that works for you. At this point in time, Messenger's marks. Load up both of your slots that you can with it. Dynamite. Always keep dynamite on you because it'll get you out of some tight situations that you can't get out of elsewise. You can drop it right at their feet very quickly. They'll drop down. They'll be kind of discombobulated, and you'll get
so
there.
Awesome.
Yeah, and the next tip I can give you is don't stop moving.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much
definitely don't stop moving.
Oh yeah, that's
my tip so far for PvP that you guys didn't cover. Gosh, I don't know. Kill stealing. Do it while you can. If you want to win easy matches right now, see who's low health, get on in there, pick them off, because there are no assists in the game yet. That's my number one tip, because I won every match the other night because I waited for the right moment. You know, you have to think as a PvPer a little bit. You have to think of somebody playing an FPS or a PvP game where position matters. You don't want to just jump out into a group of 3 or 4 people and start hacking and slashing, because first, you're going to be targeted by those 3 to 4 people, and second, you don't know who's at range to kind of knock you off. So play smart, and that's what I kind of mean by kill stealing. I don't mean like purposely go out and steal everyone's kill. I mean play smart. Play like a predator who's hunting their prey. Don't just go crazy. Strategize. And that's something I haven't seen yet because on a team level, because I haven't been able to play a deathmatch with anyone over mic, but we'll talk about that stuff later. So that's my tip right there, is play smart. Don't just jump around. Don't just jump out in the middle of nowhere. Hide a little. Look for people who have weak points. Look who's using a certain weapon that you can capitalize upon. Look who's low at health. Go after those people. There we go.
Well, leave it to Chewina to fight dirty.
Just calling it like it is. All right.
Wow.
Any tips, Kyles, that you can think of?
Strafe.
That's a good point too. Oh, and craft signets, moving signets.
That's the messenger signets.
You talked about that.
Tenma already said that.
Okay, just making sure. Yeah, we'll see. I think those are some pretty good starting tips. Do you guys want to go into what? I'll just ask. What's next on the agenda, Tanner?
Combat. It's the combat discussion. I mean, it's only been out for like 4 or 5 days. Probably 4 days because they went in on Wednesday, but I don't think it was ready until Thursday morning. So initial thoughts. Like, I know that I've had some pretty strong feelings. I know that Kylas does.
The
good's a good place to start.
What we like first, and then we can talk about some criticisms after.
Sure.
So whoever would like to go first on that. Tamla, you had some strong opinions. Would you like to start?
Strong, good opinions? Destroying the world. Well, two things. One, because we're building the game and we're building the arenas, the amount of good arenas that we'll get to see just off the charts. You know, like every arena that I go to, there are like 2 or 3 things about it that I really like about it. And then the destroying the world. Like at first I was a little annoyed with the sword, like smashing the ground in front of me every time. But eventually I got to the point where I was trying to use it a little bit strategically. Like if there wasn't a door in a wall that I wanted to be able to run through, I would make it. If I knew that people liked running up this particular stairs to get away from me, I'd chop it up so that they couldn't run away from me anymore with the sword. I didn't think that I would like using the sword, and a lot of people are being like, the sword's underpowered, but I love using the sword, and it's only the bad things that I was going to talk about PvP that made me feel like I couldn't be very good at using it.
Yeah, they added I guess we should recap. They added the 3 weapons, staff, which is a mid-range kind of shotgun, what I like to call. They have the sword, which is a close-range dash kind of weapon, and then they have the bow, which is farther away. And each weapon has a different armor connection, or whatever, armor level. I can't talk either. I'm getting karma for Flatus right now. The staff has the least amount of armor. That just has your base character armor.
No bonus armor.
The bow has bonus armor. I don't remember the exact amount, but it's kind of mid-level, 250, and then the sword has the most bonus
500.
Armor. Yeah, but when you switch, the bonus armor has to kind of cap up, so you can be in the middle of action, switch to the sword right away, but you're not going to get that bonus armor. You're going to have to let it build up. So, now we can continue our discussions. I just thought it was important to kind of tell people who might not have gotten a chance to play or are looking for info about the combat in Landmark, just what's in the game so far.
Sure.
Yeah.
Tenma, guest. What are your good things about Landmark PvP that you've seen so far?
Well, I think that the staff is pretty much on par. It needs a little bit of balancing, just a hair. The rest of the weapons need to catch up to the staff. Either a better lock on for the bow. When you charge at an opponent, either I want to carry the opponent with me, or I want to stop when I hit the opponent. One or the other. That way, I don't have to waste my stun and then turn around, and then by the time I turn around to go attack him, he's already coming out of stun, which is kind of worthless to me. That's one of the things that I really, really, really couldn't stand. That's pretty much the big things. The next thing I can think of is only the sword actually damages voxels. The fact that the bow doesn't. The fact that the magic staff doesn't in some form or fashion, even if it's deteriorated away from what the sword does, they should still be able to do a little bit of damage because it does give one extra ability to the sword over the other classes. One other thing. In the PAX stream today, Dave said that they're going to set it up to where you can set voxel repair time in the settings for the game, and that's going to be a really big thing because if they have it to where you can set it where it repairs after like 30 seconds or 25 seconds or all the way up to say 15 minutes or something like that within a match, it's going to change the game space that you're actually creating.
Definitely. Yeah. What have been your thoughts so far? You mentioned the destruction. As a PvP arena builder, or as a builder, the tools that you've been given so far, the ability to add moving platforms and teleporters and things like that, what are your thoughts on that part of the patch, and where do you see it to go in the future?
The teleporters are awesome because you can have them things go anywhere you want to. You can have it to where it can get into places that you normally couldn't, and which is pretty awesome. And I love the teleporters. The flingers, in my particular build, it's not very well. We were limited on where we could put them. As for the moving platforms, I like those, especially if you have, something that goes vertical and you can have it literally come at like angles or straight up and down or left to right. You can control the speed at which they travel. The fine grain that they have put in here so far, I'm actually really impressed with the tools that they have given us and how fine grained they are at this early of a stage inside the building process.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right, and Kailas, I know you have some strong opinions. Do you have any good opinions about combat in Landmark so far?
The staff is pretty.
Yeah, the effects and animations are pretty good from what I've seen. Like, you can see where people are aiming, you can see how they're attacking and swinging. Yeah.
The staff is pretty.
Do you have anything else good?
No, I'm sorry.
You can lead the discussion.
I am going to be really hypercritical of the combat. I think it's so. Let me. I feel it's important for me to add that I've only had the chance to do PvP twice. Partially because I have not been really super vocal and been like, hey guys, I really want to try PvP, because I've looked, but when you're doing it and not like tweeting about it the whole time, it's really hard to find a good group of people that are actually doing it. So I've gotten to do it 2 or 3 times, and the staff is pretty.
Well, fantastic. We'll get to that criticism next. How about Gladys? What have
Hi.
you liked so far about the patch and combat in this first implementation we're seeing?
Bro, it's a blast. I don't know. It is so much fun. So much fun. I had a blast today. I was playing with everybody from the Helsing Army. We beat Team Tobin into submission today.
Was that what it was? Was it Team Tobin against Helsing Army?
Oh, we wrecked Team Tobin.
we should also.
That's not fair.
No, that's also not fair. We should also say really quick, happy birthday, Tobrin.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Totally.
Happy birthday, Tobin. He's the ripe old age of 19.
So old.
I know. I called him like.
I so had plans to go in there and sing "You Smell Like a Monkey" and look like one too, but
Yeah.
I didn't get the chance.
I mean, he just wrecking them. But we had a blast. It was a lot of fun. We were jumping to different arenas, playing the different game types. I tried. I went to Thunderdome today. I played in Thunderdome. It was a lot of fun. I mean, combat is exactly what I expected it to be. It is Minecraft level of combat, but a step above that. And not in a bad way. Like, I don't want people to think that when I said that last week that I meant that in a complete bad way. It's not. It is essentially what they want Landmark combat to be. They want it to be simple, but have this depth to it that Minecraft combat doesn't have unless you download a mod and get some mods involved. So, yeah, I think it's great. I think that there is a small learning curve if you're not used to that over-the-shoulder third-person type of combat. Because Minecraft is still first-person, so I know there's a difference there with that. But it's fast-paced. You have the ability to wear trinkets, and you get to choose, and it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of things to do. And then I think the spice of every arena is different, and it's not SOEs creating these arenas. It's the players creating these arenas. And I'll get back to that, Toxin. I think that we'll never see the same arena twice. I think that's fantastic. I think that'll always make the games and the PvP arenas fantastic. I think that the people that we already see creating game art for like the Karens and like that. I would I don't want to like talk about stuff, but like Fugazi, I went to his Dark Elf versus like human arena today. We played there, captured points there. It was so fantastic. And to touch what Legendary Neurotoxin said, no Flatus, it's only Minecraft like right now. It'll be far more complex in a month or two. It'll be more complex in the sense of they're going to add lasers. I think there's going to be more weapons and stuff, yes, but I don't think it's going to go past left button, right button, and it's never going to go past left button, right button. They don't want to go past left button, right button. They want to keep it left button, right button, right button. And that's where they're going to draw the line. They're going to, like, where it's going to get deep is what trinkets you put on. That's how it's going to spice it up. Yeah, it's going to be your items, and that's where it's going to get spiced up.
I'll add that to that, too.
But past that, it's not going to be past these two little buttons right here. EverQuest next, that's a different story. But for Landmark, I don't think it's going to get more complex than those two buttons. That now, is currently holding up.
I'll add to what Flatus was saying with the trinkets. Remember Armor 2, and there's a keyword system coming, like an EQN. So it's not the fact that we might have more inputs than left click, right click. Yes, that might always be the case. But if I equip a certain chest piece, they said, well, maybe if I dash with the sword, I can go invisible with this chest piece for a limited amount of time. So there's ways to modify those two inputs into a whole slew of different abilities. Plus, like Tinmo was saying, there's dynamite. We could see a lot more kind of active items that could be included, that you could equip and craft and things like that, and make things go boom. So it will get more complicated, but I think Flatus is trying to nail home that point that the mechanic is kind of, that actiony mechanic is going to be set in stone. It's just going to be built upon layer by layer.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like, I think we'll be able to expand more on what we can do. Like, you'll get to, like, the arrow shoots twice 2 arrows at once, or something like that, where it does 2 times the damage. That's cool. That takes it to another level. That's deeper into the combat system, but I don't think it's going to go past. Like, I don't think we're going to get, Yep, there you go.
Left button, right button.
Do we have this? We have the same mouse.
This is what I want. Give me that third ability right here.
Yeah, that third one.
No, and actually, in the IRC chat room that I hang out in, they were talking about. And I was arguing to make it less like in FPS, where switching between weapons comes with a greater consequence, basically limiting the amount of switching in combat you could do. And the person I was talking to was named Iceclad, and he was arguing it the other way. He's like, no, it should be easier. And he was talking about being able to switch through preset weapons on your middle mouse wheel. Just like a first-person shooter, you want to switch from the sword to a staff. You don't have to, you're not using that keyboard, that action bar at all. You're just basically flipping the mouse wheel to go from one weapon to the next. And that's kind of not like really. I mean, that's more of like when we start talking about like theory crafting or like what we would like to see for the game. And we still have like to talk about the criticisms of the game, unless we have any more good things that we can say about it.
I haven't even gone, sir. Jeez, I have a slew of things to say.
It's because you don't count today.
Oh my god, it's because I'm the only optimistic one on the team. All right. Boom. Shots fired. Anyways, first I just want to say the implementation so far has been kind of 50-50 for me. It's been sort of under expectations in areas, which we'll talk about, but then completely over expectations in others. That starts with this nostalgic feel that I get when I play this game, and the fact that it is just pure fun. Like, I can jump off walls, I can run around, even when I'm not killing people or I'm getting killed, it can be really fun. I don't know if it is because it has simple inputs, because it's more based on my movement, or if it's the arenas. And that's my second strong point, is the fact that these created arenas that I've already been in, with destroy them and things like that, they're absolutely phenomenal. They're more creative than a lot of FPS maps I've even ever played. Of course, the graphics aren't quite there because it's a voxel engine, but we're seeing a lot of really cool stuff. Jump pads jumping you to different levels. The action pace of the combat is exactly what I wanted. Now, we can go into criticisms in a bit of where to take it further, but I just really want to nail home that point that people are having a lot of fun playing it. It's almost cartoony violence. You see your cartoon show and you see the explosions go off left and right, and it just creates a sense of fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and I really, really enjoy that. I also, commenting on the weapons, I think all of the weapons are pretty balanced, in the fact that they kind of cater to different play styles. When we get into criticisms, I'll talk more on that. But I will say that I do like the whole like mid-range weapon, long-range weapon, and short-range weapon as a first implementation into the game. And I'm sure there's a lot more good things I could talk about, like killing Andorran is a lot of fun in Landmark, I'll tell you that. Shout out to Edward Bryant out there. He might be a good musician, but his PvP skills are a little low. But we'll work on those. Calling him out. But anyways, yeah, so everyone's laughing. Kylus is like, I can't believe he did that. And Tamla's just sitting there.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so those are my positive notes on the combat system so far. The creativity, capabilities that are possible with the building engine and the tools, the creative possibilities that are available with the weapons, the fact that I can equip my signets and jump, or I can get my double jump going and help leap over certain walls that other people can leap over. Has a lot of strategy in that area. I wouldn't say that's balanced strategy, but it is creative and it is strategy. So we can go ahead, disclaimer, this is the first iteration of combat in Landmark, and our views expressed are those solely expressed by our hosts, not the show as a whole, and expect this to change as we go forward, because as combat will change, of course our opinions of it will change. We're just doing this to kind of nail home what we've read, what our impressions are, and where we think the combat system could improve. Go ahead, Tinma. You wanted to say something?
Yes, I must say something. One thing that's been left out almost entirely by almost everybody is ledge grab. You know how freaking awesome that is?
And it's awesome. It is
no, it's a freaking problem, because if you run by something and you don't mean to, you will occasionally grab onto the ledge while you're trying to run by.
I have ledge.
That's your own fault.
I like Tinma. I like him saying that's your own fault.
No, I'm not.
Spacebar and jump back off.
Right. And I'm not saying that it's again, this is first iteration. I understand they're going to tweak it and they're going to smooth it out so that players like me who are like, oh, it's your own fault, like, you give me the crutch or whatever you want to call it. I'm just saying that in theory, the ledge grab, awesome. Where you can go in the future with that, awesome. Currently, I've got some issues with it.
Legendary posted something interesting in chat, and I just want to pose this question to you guys real quick. He states, these are the tools that we're using to make EQN, saying that this is the rhetoric coming from the developers and us. And we want you to have them too. But then right click only in Landmark is kind of a contradiction, right? I'd say, for my personal opinion, no. It's just a basic set of tools. Maybe it's not the full ability tools. Maybe we will see those abilities enter. Of course, they said no class system. But at the same time, while we're helping them test a combat system, note that there's still going to be a beta for EQN, just like there's an alpha and beta for Landmark. They said there would be a beta for EQN, and you can sign up on the site for beta. So you can expect that while we're testing these basic abilities, that feedback can directly go to EQN, right?
It is. It's going to go to EQN because we like, even though it's left button, mouse button, they're still looking at, what are the players doing? Like, how are they using these skills to attack other players? Like I guarantee they're looking at it for the PvP aspect, at least for right now, because PvP is not in there. But they don't want. They're not going to go and add a hotbar. They're not going to take the time to do the development of a hotbar and skills. Where they want to kind of. I really do think they're doing the KISS, keep it simple, stupid situation here. So, but
yeah. I agree with the rest of the hosts. I guess I think they're just going to stake with left button, right. And that's it, left and right mouse button. And actually, that leads into one of my criticisms for the game, is that it does feel a little bit too simple, but more to the point that it doesn't feel like because there are no heroic abilities or major cooldowns that you have access to, it feels like I'm rather limited. I know that, like, when I'm doing PvP and I'm in, like, not a real battleground, but in other battlegrounds, sometimes it's like those key abilities. Like when we were playing Smite the other night and someone's using their ultimate ability, it changes the course of the match, and knowing how to use those cooldowns and knowing when to use them, it makes me feel like the hero. It makes me feel like, because of my clutch move, we changed the course of the battle. And in Landmark, without access to those, it is literally just a different flavor of a first-person shooter, which you have like one or two buttons and that's it. And that, again, I know that EverQuest Next is going to have those, so I'm still like, whoa, that's awesome. I'm so looking forward to it. But Landmark PvP, I'm having fun doing Landmark PvP when I'm playing with my group of friends, and we would be having fun playing any game that we were playing together. So it's not Landmark PvP that makes it fun, it's the group that makes it fun for me. And that's my criticism. PvP and Landmark is just kind of meh. I think that it's cool that I can blow holes in things with the sword. That's unique, but it's not like mind-blowingly awesome yet.
But remember, those items on your hotbar can be just like spells. If I make a lot of, dynamite sticks and throw it out, that's essentially the same thing as a spell on a hotbar, And
because it takes so much skill to throw dynamite at your enemy.
No, but maybe.
No. If they're using the same aiming mechanic as the spear from the staff, yeah, it could be.
And let me just preface any of my criticism right now that it is absolutely not an attack on my co-hosts or on any viewers or on anybody. I don't like it, but that's okay if you like it, because that doesn't mean that you can't like it. I just don't like it. I think it's dreadful. I think it's awful. I hate it. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable. It requires zero intelligence, zero skill, and it is positively obnoxious. And if this is the way it stays, I won't be playing it.
There's that old guy on Fox News that's very visceral and yells at his guests to, like, shut up. Who is that? Oh my god.
Today
O'Reilly?
It's Kai.
O'Reilly?
No, today it's Kai. Yeah, but who's like O'Reilly? It is the Kai Lex factor. Boom, boom.
Pat O'Reilly?
I like this.
Oh my god.
So part of my frustration is that I don't play games that have movement like that. all of the games that I play, that I enjoy playing, if you keyboard turn, that equals your death. And I have to keyboard turn and landmark. I have to move with my keyboard and landmark. That's death in every other game I play, including PvP. It is the exact opposite of my personal intuition. And I can't move my freaking mouse when I have a weapon equipped. And it's like, what the is going on here? It is absolutely mind-bogglingly, obnoxiously counterintuitive, and I don't know how to deal with it. It is just dumb. It's so dumb.
You need to break out of the MMO thought and break into it's a first. Like, think of it as a third.
It's not a MOBA. It's not a freaking MOBA, and they're making me play it like it's a MOBA. It's not even a first-person shooter. I did not sign up for fucking MOBA.
You know, I think the problem here lies in the definition of these games and putting landmark within the definition of these games. Because you can say landmark's not an FPS, landmark, like James was saying in chat, is not an RPG, and I can argue it is. I think it has to do with the fact that they're taking this combat system based on things they like and creating something new. So, yes, while it's completely legitimate to argue these things, because this is a lot of what other people are reverberating, is it's hard to move, it's hard to aim with this system, and
very hard to move.
Just note that we need to say that it's not good for a reason within Landmark, not just because it's a new system and we're not used to it.
Yeah.
But absolutely,
you guys never see me get that upset about anything, and the thing is like, this is no. What's really funny is this is me being extremely held because
I'll tell you this,
for my really poor choice of words. Wow. Wow.
John Stewart to our paddle rally.
I was about to say, listen, but at the same time, listen, if they throw lunar anklets and Delta Zephyrs into EQN, and I'm doing that during a raid, F that. I don't want that. I don't want to be jumping around a dragon. It sounds cool, but at the same time, it's PvE, so I'm assuming,
Yeah, we can talk about that maybe next show.
Next show, but
yeah, that's definitely it's on the agenda for our next show to talk about the projections of combat into EQ next. We are running really short on time, so if we're gonna cover everything before the break,
wow, we are running short on time.
Yeah. We could come back to this though, and I mean we have the whole second hour to talk combat, and beat it to death. But we brought Tenma on, and the reason we brought Tenma on is because he is one of the best builders in the game. None of us are really builders, and so we don't understand what goes into building in Landmark. So, all right. But so let's turn it over to Tenma and change the direction a little bit and talk about when you're building for PvP in mind. What is that like? What do you think about first? Are there, what are some things that we might overlook if we're building our own PvP arena?
Actually, I hate to cut you off, Tana, but can we talk about that when we talk about building and go over the Imgur album and stuff like that? Can we say on criticisms of combat from a player's perspective right now? Is that okay?
But I just shifted the topic.
But there's so much more to talk about.
So no, it's not okay.
No, Chewy.
It's not okay.
No, Chewy. No. After show. Next
After show. Okay,
right.
You guys want more criticism?
Somebody shut the Wookiee up.
Combat system, which we were talking about. Stay tuned for the after hours.
Yeah, stay tuned because we're definitely going to come back, but we want to cover all of the.
Why would you switch? You just didn't want anyone else to talk. All right.
No, we need building for PvP.
Building for PvP, Tenma.
All right. Well, our approach was a little bit different right off the get-go. Like I said, we started out, it was a community build, and it was based on the subject matter. We knew we wanted to make an arena of some sort, and from there, it pretty much got tossed out to, to the group to decide what subject matter we wanted to do. And Thunderdome was the one that was actually chosen, so we ran with it. And everybody kind of came together for that, and it was pretty awesome how it all kind of just molded together. And different things that different people had brung in to the claim, and it just melded together with what you see. Now, when we were doing, you know, the layout and all that kind of stuff, it was kind of strange because we let, you know, the builders decide how to lay it out. And of course, we went back in and did some tweaking on it later on. But the ultimate goal was to have one side that was equal to the other side. So each side was balanced out no matter what style of gameplay we put onto it. When we put in the different spawning points and stuff like that, we put them in exact locations on opposing sides. So everybody had exactly the same time frame to reach the different points to meet up with another player. That is very important when you're doing like capture the flag or capture the little pillar thingy, a doodle stuff ish.
Those are all technical terms. Those are
those technical terms so much.
So, do you guys draw it out first? Do you guys have like a TeamSpeak meeting before you even start building? Do you start the build in the game or outside of the game? That's one of the questions that I really like to know about. Like, how much collaborating do you guys do outside of the game to get started?
It was a mixture of a collaboration between my stream and inside the game, and basically, you know, say, hey, can we move this over here? You know, this is a little too close to this. You know, can we back it off just a little bit? Or this isn't wide enough. We need to make these wider, or we need to make these thicker and stuff like that. And over the course of the next day, we had players come in, or actually, you know, when PvP went live, I kept asking for feedback. You know, what do you like about it? What do you not like about it? You know, where can we improve on this? How can we, you know, make some modifications to make everything, you know, come together to where it is just this badass, you know, PvP arena. And we had crap tons of feedback, and you know, me and a few other people, after the arena had been built, we went in and did those modifications.
Yeah, and that seems to be a huge focus, I guess, on the builder side for PvP, and I think a lot of the criticism can go into arenas. When we return for the after hours, we're going to go through a couple arenas that we played on, discuss what we liked, what we didn't like, and maybe give some tips on those arenas. But I guess the benefit of the game, the fact that it's completely creative in map creation, can also be its downfall. Because if the map isn't created well for the kind of play type that's going on, it can drastically affect the PvP experience in a negative way.
Definitely.
So it's a good thing, and at the same time, it's more of a burden for builders who want to have a competitive arena. But at the same time, you don't have to have a competitive arena. It could just be, hey, let's get together and shoot some friends. That's completely fine too. But we'll return on that subject. I do have a question for you, Tinma, though, on your build specifically. How do you feel about the addition of moving platforms within it? I see you have, which we'll talk about later and show, you have a couple moving platforms that go across the map. You have some flingers, which kind of boost you to the other side, and you have some teleporters too. Did you find that you had to balance these just like you did everything else in the game? Was there a time where it gave you too much mobility and a time where it maybe didn't give you enough mobility? How did you find a good balance for that and direct the flow?
If I put a teleporter on one side for one team, and it gave that one team an advantage, even by a second or 2 seconds on a capture the flag, you could tell it. Because after a several amount of times, that one team is going to win every single time. Even if it's only by, you know, 5 points every single time, they would have that advantage. And you have to take that into account. Whoever caps that point first, whoever gets to that point first, is usually the one that caps it first. So if they battle it out for a little bit, you know, before somebody actually captures it, you know you hit it right. And that's right off the get-go. As long as they battle it out and then cap it, you know you've done the balancing correctly. If you have, you know, one team gets to that point and they cap it every single time first, they're going to have that 5-point advantage. They're going to have that 10-point advantage, whatever it's set to. So you have to take that into account when you're actually doing your layout. You know, even if it's off by 10 voxels or something like that, you have to put one player at the starting point over here, and you have to put another player over on this end and have them, you know, no trinkets at all, and just have them run without holding shift and see who gets there first. And
that's a good way to balance it. Yeah.
Yeah, and by doing that, you can actually figure out, you know, who's going to get to that one first. Now, if you have one team that has the ability to get to one spawn point first, have the other team be able to get to the other one first. We learned that when we went over to Fugazi's claim. You know, we balanced it out sort of.
Right, that's the perfect imbalance where, you know, if one can get to one capture point like half, you know, a second or two earlier, then you create a second one where the other team can get there early, and so there's a decision that can be made, you know, how many to send to one capture point at the beginning and how many to send to the other. That's a very tactical decision in making your PvP arena. That's all very interesting from my point of view.
Well, I got an early introduction to that because when I was making PvP maps and multiplayer maps for Call of Duty 4 and 5, that's where my background is. And if you had to take that kind of stuff into account because the players figure it out. Eventually, they will figure it out like very quickly, you know, the best way to approach an attack on something, and especially on like capture the flag or team attack.
That's awesome that you say that, because it's kind of like what the developers are doing with us, right? They're turning over the tools and they're like, hey, what are all the different ways that you can make this like incredible that we haven't thought of? And that goes into the same. Now that now there's like a 3-tier development process, right? There's the developers, there's the builders, and then there's the PvPers can see, you know, and give feedback to the builders and the developers. The builders can now send feedback to the developers about building, and we've got this, you know, great feedback system coming, building in the game.
Imagine when it develops even more and more people play the game, when it becomes kind of a second industry. Like, yeah, I publish on Player Studio, so I have modeling abilities. I can become a level designer, get actual feedback from players, learn how to take that feedback and conceptualize it to change a build, and then point to that build as a #1 build in a game and say, hey, I like to apply for this level job design. Look at what I have on my resume. You know, it adds a whole nother level for the creator themselves to be able to do exactly the same thing as level designers do. They work with a game system that's made by other developers, and they use those constraints and those bonuses within that system to create their maps. You're essentially doing the same exact job with these in Landmarks so far, so I think that's fantastic. We have a minute left. Can I do a quick shout out to what's going to happen after the break?
Right after I say, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, make sure that you subscribe to our channel. Make sure that you're following us on Twitter, and that way you get the notifications when we go live. And if you haven't followed all of our guests, our guests and our co-hosts, please make sure that you do that too. And somebody should, I think it's actually in our ticker, everybody's Twitter information. So make sure that you, wow. We apologize. Yeah. That was too much talking without cussing. I am so sorry. That my body is revolting for not having curse words in there. Apologies.
That's more than 140 characters without the F-bomb. Let's clear on a cough.
Right? My body's like, nope, screw you. So just make sure that you follow us. Thanks.
Also, we have a Facebook group. If Twitter isn't your thing, you can look for the EverCast as a person or as a page. We've created both. So I think that's it. I'll turn it back over to Chewy.
I'll add social. We have a blog spot where we post all of our audio versions of the podcast, as well as a link to our YouTube versions of the podcast. So if you're ever looking for old posts or old shows, go ahead and check out our blog. That's evercastshow.blogspot.com. And we'll post that a little later.
Or episodes of Flatus with his beard for proof.
Yes, because there is proof that Flatus had a beard, and I just can't grow a beard good enough to say it's okay to grow it, so I just shave it. I mean, it's scruffy, but it doesn't come out right, so I would never grow a beard.
How about this? Follow me on Twitter. My avatar picture is me with a beard. How about that? You like apples? I like them apples. Go look at that.
Strangely, I think that my avatar picture on Twitter is also me with a beard too.
It is. We were bearded as heck on this podcast.
You know what? I guess I'm the only one that can't follow suit with that.
Chewy can't.
You can't grow a beard, but you could be somebody's beard.
Well, all right.
I just want to.
Go ahead, Tenma.
I just want to say I feel like I'm on the intro to the Brady Bunch. You know?
The Brady, right?
I don't know what version of the Brady Bunch you watched. This isn't the Brady
We need to arrange it so that there's someone over at Chuena's house, and so when I like stretch my hand out, they stretch their hand into his camera view. That would be awesome.
Hold on, do that again, Tamlin.
Wrong hand.
Are you serious? Man. One more time. Here we go. Thank you, sir. Anyways, when we come back from the break, we're going to have more PvP goodness, including a PvP in-game tournament to win a colonist flight suit and a gem seeker's brooch. We will talk about that when we go live, and we will be kind of streaming it as it happens and as we talk through the after hours. On top of that, we'll re-hit the topic of criticisms of landmark PvP and combat so far to see where we'd like it to go in the future and what kind of iterations we'd like to see, as well as tons of crazy EverCast goodness, because we are full of it. Yeah,
I think it was the last part of that was definitely
the craziness part. I mean, we'll have the PvP discussion too, but the craziness will be there as well.
Kai gets cray. Kai gets cray.
Oh my gosh. Gladys is going to introduce our video. It's about 8 minutes long for our break tonight, guys. Go ahead and watch the video or stretch, get some water. We have a full hour of content coming at you afterwards. So Gladys, take the lead.
Yeah. Tonight's video is called My Name is Ken. It's about this quadriplegic gamer who got a device that allowed him to inhale and exhale into this device that pretty essentially allowed him to play games on his computer, and specifically the game is Diablo 3. And the video is very it's very amazing to see, especially because Brass just did a panel at PAX West about why being able to game with a disability and why it's important to us as other gamers. Seeing someone like this be able to play a game, and actually, he streams on Twitch. He's a Twitch streamer, much like myself and Tenma and Chewy and Tanlin and Kailes and a lot of the people in chat. This guy streams on Twitch and he plays Diablo 3, and it's very touching and very heartwarming to see him being able to play a game that he loves to play through the abilities of modern technology and medical advances. Let's take it away. Tenma, would you like to count us down for camping? Camp us out to the video.
Yeah, give me 1 second there. There's I would like to say this, that I suffer from PTSD, and gaming and the community is definitely something that is very therapeutic to me, and being around everybody that's part of the community, including you guys, it helps me a lot. So yeah, anytime you're ready there.
Absolutely, and I'll say this as well. I've suffered from depression through situations in my life. Luckily, I gratefully do not suffer from medical or any conditionally depression. Mine's always situational, but it can happen. It affects me greatly, and communities like the one I have with the Helsing Army and friends like I have here on the show have always helped me. So things like this do help. So Tenma, take it away with their camping.
All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah.
See you after the break.